Breaking news, Patek Philippe releases the most predictable, uninteresting Calatrava in decades, and the world goes wild. So today we're talking about 4 of Patek Philippe's newest releases from this year's Watches and Wonders, and we're going to start off with the Calatrava, and really all the way through. The common thread here is sort of a little bit of, disenchantment. I love Patek Philippe. I'm a big fan of the brand. I'm wearing a Patek Philippe right now. This is the one that my family gifted to my grandfather for his 80th birthday, I think it was. I love the brand. It is an iconic brand with so much real reason to absolutely adore and praise, right? But I do think that this brand and this Calatrava is a great example, and this is one of the 4 watches we'll talk about, like I said. I think it's just a great example of how people will do anything. People will kiss so much ass to just kind of gain favor, and why I think that's a shame. I'm not talking about people, I'm talking about YouTubers, I'm talking about content creators, and I think that's a shame because it's not a great shame. It's not a tremendous global travesty, but I think it is a shame so far as what we do, because you guys come to, YouTube to learn about watches and to have, you guys come to YouTube to learn about watches, develop your own opinion on watches, to feel engaged in the community, and I don't think that a great basis for that is like lying. I don't think that a great basis for that is not being critical. I'm not all negative. I love to give a tremendous praise and compliment, but when I think it's time to be critical, I am. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to give absolute praise on a level. Many of these watches are very good, but I think there's tremendous and undue fanfare that's created by influencers that I think is ridiculous, and I hope that you agree. And if you don't, comment down below. Either way, comment down below. So I will read them, and maybe we'll have a conversation. So let's get back into the Calatrava here. Let's start here. This is a good watch. It's a good watch. If I saw it out, I'd like it. I think it is well designed. If I have no knowledge of Patek Philippe history, I just had a knowledge of quality, right, of balance of design, I would say this watch is good. Maybe a little bit thick at 10 millimeters, 9.3 millimeters, a little thick. I would personally prefer it at 33, not 38, because the original, Calatravas were 30.5, but I understand that's probably not reasonable. I get that. I understand that my wish list is unreasonable, right? But objectively speaking, this watch is good. That being said, the level of praise and fanfare that comes from media to this watch is absurd. Everyone is just, my head over heels for this watch, which is, let's be honest, completely uninventive. It's a Calatrava in salmon with a subdial that makes sense in size. And there were watches that were inventive at Watches and Wonders. I think that that sounds ridiculous because it's such an entry-level brand, but Nomos's new club, World Time was an interesting, inventive watch. It was a good watch, smarter than this Calatrava. There is no doubt. The world was begging for this Calatrava, and Patek just made it. And the world wasn't even being that inventive when they gave it. It was just the obvious improvement in like the most famous colorway. Patek is famous for their salmon. So just do the Calatrava and salmon. It's like, okay, great, and do it at 38. Do I like it better at 30, 31, 32? Yes, the classic sizes, yes. But it's a good one. It's, let's just chill out a little bit. But the thing is, everyone's paid and incentivized to embellish when something is good, to ignore when something is bad, or downplay at the bare minimum. And if not downplay, then just flat out ignore. It's funny that, Hodinkee and many other places have such strong opinions about how this is the greatest, which means that there were bad things before, and never really commented too. Not to say never, but, and it's not them. It's a lot of other people. It's like, let's just be a little bit more fair and objective. Why are we sugarcoating it for Patek Philippe, for God's sakes? What have they done? Why would I be giving undue praise? Why would I be brown-nosing Patek? For what? So I can get a free bottle of champagne? No, thank you. Chocolates? I'm good. An allocation? Come on. I'm going to beg for it. It's ridiculous. I'm going to release incomplete opinions, or I'm going to release too favorable opinions for an allocation for a watch? No, thank you. No, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. But moving on into today's conversation, there are a couple more watches I want to talk about. The next watch I think is incredible, and it should be at $1.2 million. It is a split second perpetual calendar with a minute repeater. This is in many ways quintessential Patek Philippe, but unlike the Calatrava, it is equally Patek Philippe's Calatrava, but unlike the Calatrava, it is in no way entry level. This is peak Patek. What do I think about it? I think it's great. The complication is great, and that's not really up for conversation. It's more about, do you like the dial execution? Do you like the colors? I hate to be so reductive, but that's the point. You can't call the watch too big because it has too much to fit in it. It can't really be smaller. I don't think it should be smaller. Yeah, it's perfect. Perfect watch. I love the color. I love the different blues that are used. I love everything about this watch. But again, at $1.2 million, to be like, not the flagship, but rather to be the, the North Star, or, whatever. Of course, it should be perfect.
Hola a todos. I am called Michael Rivera. And I would like to tell you all something today. And that is this. The Zeron Harris Vintage Watch Shop is very special to me, and it should be special to you as well. As a new collector, it has helped me explore vintage watches from Rolex, Omega, Patek Philippe, Tudor, and more brands. Watch brands, that is. And the shop focuses on and specializes in entry-level luxury. And as a young man just starting his career, especially one so aware of my ever-expanding debt obligations to the federal government due to predatory student loans, I am grateful for a shop that is so value-forward, a shop that finds beauty in the often simplest watches. Go over to the Zeron Harris shop, please, for my family.
First, turn the camera off.
Please.
I think the next watch, the 6159G, I don't love it. I don't love it, to be honest. I think that it's, you know what it is? It reminds me too much of the Datograph Lumen because it uses the same tactic to create visual interest, this translucent, like smoked, black, whatever, glass or whatever the hell the material is. I love that. I think it's great. This is a cool watch. It's an interesting watch. I appreciate the attempt from Patek Philippe. It's a great complication. Not only its perpetual calendar, but it's a retrograde, meaning, that center display. It's not a complication. Oh, it's complicated to make, but it's more of a display. But in function, it's just a perpetual calendar. I think it's great. So it's interesting. It's great. I love the fact that they use the hobnail bezel. Hobnail bezel is a great classic Patek Philippe, design, coup de Paris, they call it. I don't love it in anywhere in the same universe like I do the Datograph Lumen, which I'm not sure if the Datograph Lumen was the watch that, invented this visual effect, but certainly I think the watch that did it best and made it most famous. The Datograph Lumen is flawless. It is flawless. And I think that this watch is very good. But I can't imagine someone ever saying that this is better than the Datograph Lumen. So if a design is so distinctive, and you go and make it, it better be better than the other guy. Because you're always going to be compared to the other guy. Right? And I think that it's kind of weird that Patek Philippe even wanted to be the other guy. It's kind of weird. Clearly that's a Lange thing, meaning this glass effect, this smoked black effect. So clearly it's Lange. So why Patek even wanted to play that game is silly. And if they did want to play the game, then they most certainly should have won. Most certainly. Can't lose to Lange. Especially when people, watch geeks, say that, Lange deserves to be in the Holy Trinity. And usually it's not Patek that's, talked about getting axed. Not that anyone's going to, the Holy Trinity in watchmaking is never going to change. It's so much marketing and it's never going to change. But Lange, this is like a great example of why Lange, earns their keep, why Lange deserves the acclaim they get. Because Patek had all this time to, Lange put their cards on the table first. Patek waited and, lie in wait and then released something that competed with it that was not even close to as beautiful. The Datograph Lumen is a flawless watch. Then at $117,000, I don't have a huge opinion on pricing. I know that they're already being listed around $300,000. So even at 117, I think there are so many more interesting, beautiful watches to own. I think that, they're better watches. There are just better watches to get that I think are more beautiful, that wouldn't remind someone of a direct comparison that the watch loses. You know what I mean? So anyway, not a fan of this. The last piece I want to talk about is the Cubitus in 40 millimeter. So many thoughts. None of them really matter because it's such a boring conversation. Why would Patek Philippe release a 40 millimeter Cubitus months after releasing the original Cubitus at 45 and being the subject of a ton of hate? This was a weird thing. The Cubitus in and of itself was a weird thing to do. So it would have made sense if they did it the first time from the onset. the right way, or like the closer to non-offensive way, and then they could have expanded the range down the line. So it seems weird that they did it poorly and then came back and did it a little bit better. I do think the Cubitus is set up to fail from day one. I don't think it's an attractive design. I don't think it's an original design. I don't think it's anything revering or endearing or whatever, anything to revere. I've tried on the Platinum. I think it's awful. I think it's huge. It's cool on a level, but no, I think it's absolutely terrible. I don't get why people are buying them. I mean, I do get why people are buying them, right? I mean, it's exclusive. So, you could sell human beings almost anything under the guise of exclusivity. It's just true. And it's a shame about our nature, but it is true. And this is not even a great example of that, right? There are so many worse things that people do, so many worse lengths people go to be looked at as somebody to be exclusive. This is a harmless thing. It's, multi-deca millionaires theoretically buying a $100,000 watch. So what if it's ugly? Who really cares? It doesn't really matter. It's unconsequential, really. But still doesn't change my opinion that the watch sucks. I don't think it has anything. I don't think it has any of the traits that make the Nautilus brilliant. It does not balance elegance and industrial design. It is not genta. It is like a cheap way to ride the wave of the Nautilus. That's what I think. And I think it's dumb. I think in 40 it's better. Yes, sure. Still don't think it's good. It was released in rose gold and I believe white gold. Again, whatever. My thoughts are, I mean, what is one supposed to think? Am I supposed to come up with like a really, deep, complicated thought? I think it's an ugly watch. You may think it's a nice watch. We can probably agree that it's better than the last one. Where do you want to go? Where are we going? When is it coming out in steel? I mean, meaning in 40? Probably next year, I guess. I mean, and even then, it'll be a boring release. That is not inventive. Patek recently invented a bad watch that is derivative of a great watch. Now they're going to release this bad watch that's derivative of a great watch in a different metal. Bah, what do you want from me? I mean, you know what I mean? Yeah, this is a fabulous opportunity for me to stick my head up the rectum of a big brand and hope for free chocolate. Sure, fine. But nah, I'll buy my own chocolate. What do you say? Like this episode, go ahead and like it, subscribe to our channel for real talk, real watch thoughts, informed and unfettered. That's actually pretty good brand speak. I should do this for a living. Comment down below. What do you guys think?
Watches, particularly vintage watches, represent this intersection of history, of design, of engineering. Theo & Harris is a family business. It always has been. And that's because we, my family, all share a passion for this remarkable intersection. For nearly a decade now, we have scoured the world from Oklahoma to Tokyo for some of the most interesting watches by some of the world's most revered manufacturers to share with our community. We handpick our collection, we look for quality, and we look for taste. We choose watches that, for one reason or another, speak to us. We authenticate them, we service them so they're ready for decades of memories to come, and then we share them here with you. We support our clients. We believe in expedited and fully insured shipping so they never have to wait. We believe in stress-free returns in the off chance they change their mind. We believe in building relationships that last. Theo & Harris is a family business. And we haven't just built a shop, we've built a community. So whether you're considering adding a vintage watch to your collection, a handmade strap to your life, or if you're just looking to talk watches, we're grateful that you've chosen us.